is this video something people will enjoy? Because their goal is to get people to come onto YouTube and stay all day.
All right, welcome to the Underrated Podcast, where we talk about sports and rant about a bunch of stuff we think should be ranted about. Today we have a very special guest in FivePoints. He is a former sales and marketing executive who has turned his passion for sports and entertainment into a reality. FivePoints, how are you?
I'm doing good. Hope things are going well for you.
Things are going pretty well for us.
Podcast, and we hope that this is we'll welcome you back on soon too.
Yeah, I'm excited to do this. So fire away, boys.
Is this your first podcast?
I've been a guest on numerous other ones, but I was impressed by your sincerity and your earnest attitude, and I saw you got a couple other guys to come on as well. And yeah, I'd like to help you guys out in any way possible.
Thank you so much. I think we're just gonna start off with the questions.
All right. So I think I have some questions here. So you do a lot of stadium ranking videos, and I kind of wanted to ask this: what is, in your opinion, the best and worst stadium from the big four sports leagues in North America?
Oh God, I would say the worst is easily Tropicana Field in Tampa. It's just they didn't really plan it well. It's not. It's very sterile. It was supposed to be like a multi-purpose dome and entertainment venue, and then it's just horrible for baseball on top of it. At least it's climate controlled, but it's really just a terrible stadium.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, for the best, I mean, it hurts me to admit it, but AT&T Stadium in Dallas is amazing. Having gone there and seen it, it's just an engineering marvel the way that they've structurally put it together. I haven't been to US Bank or any of the other more modern stadiums, but you know, just reviewing it aerially as well as Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta looks just amazing. I'm more into really geeking out over engineering feats than just pure aesthetics or tradition. I don't think that just because it's a storied place. Like I've been to Wrigley, it's a really nice field, but it's also kind of cruddy in some areas.
Oh yeah. That's kind of like the one thing about those old stadiums too. They kind of get that look of like a very grungy look after a while. And unless it's kind of taken care of, like especially I've been to the Rogers Center a couple times, and it's a huge stadium, and it's such a nice venue to go to in general because it's huge and it's a bowl and there's a hotel. But it's just the concrete look of it and just the total environment of it. It's just kind of getting grungy now.
Yeah, I actually got to go to Rogers last summer. And yeah, I mean, it's beautiful from the outside. One of the first ever to have a retractable dome, but inside the paint's chipping off the rails. It's definitely showing its wrinkles, you know, after all, you know, almost 30 years of being used. It's approaching the end of its life for sure.
Yeah.
Are there some stadiums where you're like kind of on the
Pittsburgh
edge of? So like there's some things that you like about it and there's some things that you don't like about it? They're kind of like in the middle.
I mean, any just going to a professional baseball, I love going to any stadium. Even right here where I live in Richmond, we have a terrible little diamond, but I'll go watch baseball pretty much anywhere. But yeah, the Rogers Center did have definitely things I liked about it for sure. It was, you know, I like climate control. I like that the dome. I mean, even the Metrodome was cool, and I got to go there. So any stadium I can go to, I love. It's just some are definitely better than others.
Yeah, for sure. I think Braden, you're a huge fan of Tropicana Field. What do you have to say?
I actually do like
him ranking
Tropicana
it
Field.
kind
I
of
don't know
towards the
why
bottom?
people hate on it. I just think it's just a good architectural building. Maybe people don't like it because it doesn't sell out its building, but I don't know. I just think it's kind of nice, and I would want to go there at least if it stays where it is.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd kind of like to. Yeah, go ahead. I'll kind of say. I'll kind of say what I think about it. It's not that it's a bad stadium necessarily. It's just that it wasn't really planned all that well. Like the catwalks are in fairgrounds. It's kind of has odd colors to it, and it's just such an odd building in general. But hey, it does have a Ray tank, so I mean that's a bonus.
Yeah, I just don't like that concrete exterior. It reminds me of the Kingdom, and then when you go, when you look inside it, it's not what you exactly what you expect. Actually, it just looks as sterile and as uninviting as its exterior. So, but eventually it'll get phased out, and it'll be a decent. They'll probably come up with something even more magnificent than what they have down there in Miami, and we'll all be blown away by Tampa's new ballpark.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I still don't like. Obviously, it's going to get better, and I think that they're going to start listening to the fans and how people don't like the stadium. Maybe they put a little upgrade instead of spending so much money on players. But I don't know. I think it might change, but it also could go down, and it could just plummet down.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I saw that recently. You had like a video talking about the XFL, and the XFL just kind of went under. Now, did you think from the beginning that the XFL would be successful, or did you kind of think this would happen?
I didn't think it would happen in this way. Obviously, no one was prepared for a global pandemic to start bankrupting professional sports leagues. But, in my video that I did on it, the spring football graveyard is just full of everyone that's tried to do it has failed for some reason. It just seemed like God doesn't want there to be a spring football league. And so in this latest version, he just unleashed, the bat virus on the XFL. It's just unfortunate because I thought that they were going to make it. I honestly thought that they would make it the first 3 years at least. And I think the AAF would have had would still be going on if they were actually capitalized, but it was just a bad story. But yeah, it's just shocking that would happen. And that I think they're just kind of playing a game because bankruptcy really doesn't mean the end. It just means that you don't owe anybody anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you're relieved from your debts at that certain time. So I think it could possibly come back when maybe in 3 to 5 years when we actually rebound from this economic catastrophe.
Was there a specific
that's
team
kind
you
of
may have
the
been looking
same.
at that you might think could have done well?
The DC team was really playing well. The New York team was mediocre to average. I think there was another team that was doing well. Maybe the St. Louis team. I don't know. There seemed to be a lot of parity in the league. Yeah, there seemed to be it was going to come down to pretty good games. I think they had it right with fairly evenly matched teams going at it every week. So who knows? But it is a league that's lost now.
When I first heard that they were suspending day-to-day operations, I actually thought that kind of it was more along the lines of a good idea for them to do at the time, only because imagine you're not continuously paying players and paying employees and all that. Just for them to shut everything and wait this out, I thought was a good idea. And then they heard that they kind of filed for bankruptcy, and that kind of put a dim on what I thought the league was going to be.
Yeah, as I said earlier, that doesn't necessarily mean the end. They own all the intellectual property. They can revive it at a different time. But yeah, it just makes financial sense. You can't just pay people for nothing. You can't have that executive or even skeletal staff still on the payroll when there's no reason to. I just don't think that that there's going to be live sports for even the minor leagues for maybe even 2 years. So it's just rough right now for everyone, not just the sports. It's tough.
Speaking of paying people for nothing, now, do you think that the NHL will now I'm going to talk about the NHL in Seattle here because that's going to somehow be integrated in. Where do you think, if the NHL were to expand next, where do you think the NHL will expand after Seattle joins?
Well, let's see. When Seattle joins, that'll give them 32 markets, right? And I don't know if there's any more markets for the NHL, especially the way things are right now. You could see some contraction It could go the opposite. I think Florida, the Panthers really need to be looked at as some team that just should shutter their doors. And that's sad. You don't want to lose an NHL franchise, but it's it would be tragic, but it might just need to happen. Other than that, well, maybe you could see some relocation. Maybe they go to Quebec City. I think that area could probably support two teams. I think that area is getting sick of Habs fans. I'm messing with you. I see the jersey.
That's all right. I got it.
But Quebec, they've been asking for a team for a while. Those areas are so densely populated. I think Hamilton at 1.2 near Toronto.
Hamilton was in the run, I remember.
Yeah. So you could see two American teams.
Hamilton was in the run, I remember.
Yeah, end up back in Canada, which I wouldn't have a problem with. I think there needs to be more Canadian teams, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just don't see the NHL expanding. I see them contracting.
Yeah. I kind of have a similar point. The Panthers kind of seem to me on the brink of kind of collapse. You're same with the Coyotes. The Coyotes, I have actually the baby blue Atlanta Thrashers jersey. That's why this comes to mind for me. I remember when kind of the NHL was on a deciding point between Atlanta and Phoenix, and they kind of went the Atlanta route only because I think the city of Phoenix wanted to keep a team in their building, although they would relocate to Glendale like 3 years later. But I think now, when looking at kind of like the Arizona Coyotes more now, you look at it, they've really flip-flopped from owner to owner so many times now. And I think they're just at the brink of, at this point, just destruction when you look at them.
Yeah, they're really undercapitalized. I think Barron is the guy that currently owns it. And
he's Mexican guy, I think, isn't he? I think it's Mexico.
Something like he just basically bought it on credit anyway. So it's just, you see these franchises, some of them are obviously, Toronto is obviously a very rich franchise despite their lack of success. But it's sad that, the NHL really expanded too soon in some ways. I think they should have kept out of certain markets. But Phoenix, they've been there for a long time. But you see where it's been successful, like in Carolina. They love their franchise there. But the NHL looked at the South and America as being so populous there. Like, how could it go wrong? But it's definitely gone wrong in many cases. But you look at Tampa, the Lightning. They're one of the most well-attended, well-loved franchises in the league. They're not going anywhere. On the flip side, down in
Miami,
in Florida, like in Lauderdale, it's bad. Sunrise.
Yeah, Sunrise technically.
Now that we've kind of heard your opinions on kind of the sports, we kind of want to go into your career now. So, is there a specific inspiration that maybe inspired you to start making the videos that you make today?
Do you want like the whole story from the beginning, or do you want like what I do now? Because I can
whatever you prefer to say, go for it.
All right. So, well, I guess I originally started, and in 2013, I used to be a healthcare executive, and at that point, I was really, I was very high up the corporate ladder. I had like 40 employees. And I traveled the whole country, like just being, Mr. Boss Man. And then one day our company got bought out, and then I was laid off. And then one day I wasn't that person anymore. And so I was bored. I was sitting around unemployed, and I was like, you know what? I was playing Madden. I was playing a lot of Madden. And I said to myself, I couldn't stop like a screenplay, and I was like, how do you stop this? And I looked and I Googled, and I saw that people were posting clips of them playing the game on YouTube. I said, I didn't know that you could capture game footage like that. So I bought a capture card for the purpose of just analyzing my own film. Like, I wasn't trying to be a YouTuber. Like, I wanted to just get better at Madden. And then one day I found this guy called Mr. Golden Sports, and he was actually like having fun playing the game. And I was like, you know what? I can do that. I can talk over me playing the game. And I think I'm funny. And maybe I should try this. Well, apparently it's really hard to be funny. And it takes a lot of practice. And you actually really have to put a lot of effort into YouTube to be good. But I did that for 4 years. and this I didn't get anywhere. Like I only had like maybe 5,000 subs, maybe 6,000 total. And then I got sick of Madden. I just hated playing Madden. So I started playing NHL 15 because I was just remember how much I love hockey. And then there was this kid who was making videos at the time. I don't know if you remember him. His name was Adam 2.0.
I've heard the name before.
Oh yeah.
I've heard the name before.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
started making videos. He was like from Ohio, had like a really good voice, and his channel started blowing up. And then he would do like top fives and stuff. And then people were like hating on him because his channel grew so quickly, right? Like all these other NHL gamers, like including myself, were like, how's this kid doing so well? And he gave the best piece of advice I've ever heard. Was he said, imagine is watching your video right now. Are you proud of it? Do you think it's good? Do you think if you were the whole world, would you watch that video? And so I really started looking back at my videos. So like, man, my videos really suck. Like I wouldn't want to watch these. And then the other thing I figured out was like, oh, he was smart enough to think before he hit record instead of just winging it, which was what I was doing. Yeah. So I sat down. I was like, all right, what if I just really tried? What if I wrote out a script, articulated it, put some memes together, and let's see what happens. And I did a video on NHL captains that would never captain again. Like, who was it? Like
Andy Green.
What's that?
Andy Green.
Yeah, like Andy Green. Like, yeah, guys that had just lucked into the captain position because of circumstance, and you're like, all right, this guy's never going to be the captain of a team again. Like Ryan Callahan, like he's never going to be a captain somewhere. McDonough probably too. Like I don't know if he'll go somewhere else and be a captain, but there's a lot of ex-NHL captains that are just not going to, you know. Maybe was Williams the captain at one point? Justin Williams in
I think
LA.
Maybe before he kind of transitioned to like a couple years before he went to the Capitals. I think that's when he was captain. I'm not sure though.
Or was it Stoll? No. Who was the captain?
Might have been Eric Stahl. It might have been Eric Stahl.
Yeah. For LA. What's the guy's name? Gosh, I can see his name.
Justin Brown. Gosh.
Yes, Brown. Yeah. Dustin Brown, I think.
Oh, I remember. I remember I like loved him when I was little for no reason. I don't know why, but he was just such an interesting player to me. I have no clue why. Right.
And you could tell
like the only reason I remember that.
Yeah, you could tell that he was loved, like he was a leader, but now he's like, you know, he was cut like after I think the second run or something like that. Well, anyways, I put together this video and it gets like 40 times more. Like it got like 40,000 views, and I was like, I think I'm on to something. And from there, it just snowballed. Like, I think I did like a critique of the NHL logos. And I was like, you know what? I love all sports. I'll try doing this for other sports. And then I was able to do something that was repeatable and that people liked. And then it just kept blowing up. Like, I just started asking questions about sports and doing new things that, you know, they don't always do well. Some of them even to this day don't do as well as I would like. But at the same time, I'm very grateful for everyone that, you know, tunes in and watches. And I think, you know, you look at it when you're starting out, it's like, oh, I'll never clickbait. I'll never do all these things that I think these other people do that are like cheap to get views. But really, in all honesty, those things work, and they work for a reason. As long as you're delivering on what you're promising in the title and the thumbnail, nothing's clickbait, if you ask me.
And so when you started to transition from sport to sport, like maybe you moved from NHL to maybe you'll try NBA, was that when you started to realize that this could be a full-time career with the amount of views you were pulling in?
Yeah, I think the first time I realized that I could make it my job was like I think that Why Can't You Keep an NBA Basketball? At one point it was getting like 16,000 views an hour. And I was like, holy crap. Like if I had time I was sitting there, I'd worked my way back to being up a healthcare executive. I'm sitting there during like a meeting, I just randomly log into analytics and this video is just blowing up. And I'm like, maybe this is much easier than, you know, having to wonder about test volume and who do I, other, real life things that, people in corporate jobs worry about were starting to become really tedious. So it wasn't that I just looked at how much I was making, like, which wasn't much through AdSense, but I just felt like if I just put my effort towards doing it full time, that I would be okay.
And then you also made a video that was why you can't keep an NFL football that goes into these stands. That got, I think, 2.7 million views off of the one that was getting 16K views. I'm not sure how many views that one has, but I see that one of the top videos was 2.7 million views. Was that the point where you're like, yeah, I could keep doing this?
Yeah, it's just crazy. I think once you get to 100,000 subscribers, you start thinking that you're legit. It's like, all right, I got the plaque, I've got this audience. But really the thing that with YouTube that is the most difficult is no matter what level you get to, you're never where you want to be. If you want 1,000 subs, once you get there, you want 10,000. You want 10,000, you want 100,000. You want 100,000, you want 1,000,000. Like, you have to continue to stay sharp. And so it's like a never ending process. Like, Urinating Tree and I are probably best friends in this business. And we talk a lot, and we're just like, yeah, it just really kind of never ends. You just keep chucking logs of coal into the fire, hoping that it burns hotter each time. And, luckily, yes, we've worked this hard, but a lot of people don't see the parts where you struggle,
And would there be something other than, keep putting work into it that you would have other than that, like advice to people like us trying to grow a channel?
Consistency really matters, especially in the beginning, because you get better by simply uploading more, and then constant analysis of looking at, all right, are we doing good? Are we interesting enough for that people would want to watch us? Like, the YouTube is a game that's really predicated on, it's a artificially intelligent Google brain that runs it, that wants to figure out, is this video any good, right? Is this video something people will enjoy? Because their goal is to get people to come onto YouTube and stay all day and get exposed to as many ads as possible while they're sitting there. And then when they log off, go buy all those things that they told you to buy. So when you're putting together content, you're looking for something that will trap people in and keep them on the platform. So, and there's no wrong way to do, well, other than stealing people's stuff, there's really no wrong way to do it. It's just figuring out, am I unique? Am I different? Am I interesting? And then being consistent enough to just keep uploading. Because a lot of people that are talented quit, and a lot of people that aren't talented stick with it and finally find that thing that is repeatable and works. That explains the Jake Pauls of the world and myself.
All right, so we thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it, and we'll have you on sometime soon. And we thank you for the advice, your opinions, everything. We hope to have you on soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
See you later.
All right, thanks.